Welcome to episode 48 of the Out on Loan podcast. As always, I'm your host, Jeffrey Canova, joined by today in the big three, in the Kieran Keneally and the Isaac Howson. Welcome, boys, to the show. As always, glad to have you on. Round of 32, the knockout stages are finally here of the World Cup. We're excited to get our brackets out there tomorrow. I know it sucks that it's really weird seeing like the round of 32 just start like right now, and we're just having one game with Canada being in there with like a 12 p.m. kickoff Pacific time for me specifically, and for Aritra as well. So we'll have our brackets out there. We'll include Canada. I think we did. I think the majority of us did have Canada going through, but it was an impressive game this morning with Canada getting the last minute 1-0 win over the South Africa. But before we go on recapping that game real quick, and match day 3 as always, and then going into the round of 32, which started today, but I think it really is going to feel like the start of it by tomorrow on Monday. Please go and follow Robinson Pictures as always, and follow the Outlawn Podcast on TikTok, Instagram, and social media as always. So, thank you to our fans out there giving our takes and stuff. Shout out to one of my main TikTok guys out there, Rupak. I know he gave a like to one of our recent videos. I think it was like the Mbappe and Vinny one. So shout out to you, my man. Much love to you as always. I've been following his content for like I think now 6 years. So appreciate we finally got the like from him, man. So that was pretty cool to see on the Outlawn podcast. But yeah, boys, I wish we had a reacher on for today's episode only because he was at the game. So shout out to my man. He went to his first World Cup game along with you as well, Mr. Kieran Keneally. But any thoughts on the what's it called? South African Canada game. I don't know. Any recapping that game? Any
Mm,
impressive players?
I thought it was like a good game overall. We were talking about it before we went on air, Jeff. I know it was only 1-0. It wasn't like the best quality of a game, but it was an evenly contested game. I think both teams were sort of like shadow boxing, if you will, kind of like feeling each other out throughout most of the game. Um, I thought South Africa, they were decent. They defended really, really well. I've been impressed with how they improved compared to the Mexico game on match day one. Very unlucky to lose that game. I thought it was going to go to extra time and penalties. It seemed like one of those games that was going to drag out. But you have to give Canada credit. I mean, they were probably slightly the better team for most of that game. Made some good changes. Alfonso Davies came on second half, had a positive impact on the game, and they ultimately got their winner right at the end. And it was a historic result. I think Canada's first ever knockout win, and now they're going to the round of 16 for the first time. So I think it was a good opening game for the knockouts. Maybe not the best ever, but I think it was a good start.
Yeah, Isaac. I don't know if you had the chance to catch that game, but I don't know. Any
Yeah,
thoughts for you? I know you're Canada's biggest. We're one of Canada's biggest ops. I wish I was able to at least go to the game, but look, man, you know how hard it is trying to wake up at 7 in the morning just to get down to SoFi Stadium and just go out there and be with the Canadian fans. But thankfully, I didn't get to attend that. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on Canada?
yeah, it's funny. I think I've always tried to say when it comes to these larger international tournaments, I think I err on the behalf of wanting the federation to do well. Especially, I mean, hey, there's all eyes on a possible merger maybe with CONMEBOL sort of in the future, and obviously, if you want that to happen in any way, you need to obviously show the quality that you have on the stages when you're there to perform. So teams like Mexico, U.S., Canada, like I want all those teams to do well when it comes to here. When it comes to when we play them or when it's CONCACAF play, yeah, I'll go right back to hating them. Arguably hitting them more than any other country. But no, I mean, full credit today. I was able to tune in later into this game. I got the second half, and I think Kieran hit it on the nail, hit the nail on the head with when it came to Alfonso Davies. I think he just made an instant impact. I think you saw the difference. I think it just flat out. He was the best player on the pitch between both sides, and I think it was clearly evident, even on the brief game that he came on, that he made a difference, even if it was obviously a beautiful strike by Stakio. Yeah, I think you noticed the difference right away, even from the way the announcers talked about the game. I feel like they even the way they changed calling, and even the way that they were calling or referring to the game beforehand seemed very boring and dull, and that there needed to be a change. And obviously, Davies provided that spark. Yeah, and it's been simply put, it's been checking off a lot of boxes for this Canadian national team. You mentioned getting their first knockout win. I mean, they hadn't had a win coming into this tournament in general, let alone now you're hosting it for the first time ever. You get your win at home. You make it out of the group stage for the first time ever. Now you win your first round. Now there'll be always jokingly some debate with like the old heads where like, back in my day it was a round of 16. Those round of 32 games don't count. So we'll see, who knows? Obviously it'll be tough to see in that round of 16 game, either with it being the Netherlands or Morocco. I'm very excited to see who we all pick in that game. But yeah, overall, impressive from Canada to get the result, and full credit to them. And let's go Canada for at least one more game, or at least until they play the U.S.
I like your analysis right there, and that's true. I mean, I would be very excited to see a potential where we have a CONMEBOL merger right there with the CONCACAF and seeing them the U.S. play Peru every once in a while. Like that would be very interesting. That would be a very awkward ambience in the family. Obviously, being an American fan and then obviously being a Peru fan, but. No, you're right in that sense. I think with Alfonso Davies, that was the one player I saw coming into this tournament. I was like, if Canada are going to have any hope of just going far, is building the right system around a player like that quality, and he is their best player by far, the most talented. Um, Potentially, arguably as well, going to be their greatest as well if you want to put him in those conversations. So, and we've seen a lot throughout this tournament. I've said it so many times now with the best players is they're in systems now where you get to thrive. They don't not only get to thrive, but they get to carry their team so far. So now that Canada come in and have Alfonso Davies, we'll see from this tournament and later on whether they're going to build around him for the foreseeable future. But yeah, I think when he came on, he was absolutely amazing. But I do want to give some credit to South Africa as well. I thought ever since that Mexico game, the whole football community went hard on them, and rightly so. I mean, I'm not even going to say his name because I just laugh every time because of what social media has done to him. But I'll give him his. You know what? Fuck that. Seho had a horrible, horrible opening game against Mexico, along with the entire team. And I think from there on out, I just kind of doubted them, and I kind of suspected from like the names and stuff that South Africa weren't going to go far. This entire tournament. Yeah, ever since that game, they've been solid. I mean, they got what was it? They got the result against Korea. I think they also got a decent draw, if I'm not mistaken, against Czechia as well. So they came in, got the results after that Mexico game, turned their heads up, and been really solid. And the most shocking result for me from this run of theirs was that 1-0 win versus South Korea because I've been big on South Korea. And I did, from a selfish level, did want to see Canada go up against South Korea because I know how big the South Korean fans are here in LA. But we didn't get that. And they went in, rightfully so, second place, which is insane. I don't know how they went from last, looking like the worst team in the group, to being the second in that group. So props to them. And some of their players, I mean, I'll try to pull up with them. I think one of the bigger names that I saw get a lot of praise was one of their center backs in Mobakazi. I think that's how you pronounce his name, the young 20-year-old center back who yeah, I heard a lot of people say that he was absolutely amazing. I did completely agree. I mean, defense, I think South Africa were outstanding. And one of the key things that the commentators from Telemundo kept on repeating was how well this team was able to play from the back. So look, from South Africa's perspective in the future, they have a lot of young players that I just saw right now. Like, I mean, you got Mobazaki, um, Mokoena, who's like 29 in there as well. I think their fullback as well. So they have a few. I think one of their cams as well, Mokafeng, like a few young players in there. But it's also like the way they played, where you're just like, man, I can't wait to see them in potential future tournaments as well. So credit to South Africa, man, for real. Like I think we got to give them credits, honestly. I don't know. Any final thoughts on South Africa?
Yeah,
I
I mean,
guess
no, I was just gonna say, like, this is the furthest they've ever gotten in the World Cup. The first time they've made it out the group stage and gotten to the knockouts. So yeah, they lost today ultimately, but they should be proud of themselves. I mean, I think we all, like you said, Jeff, wrote them off after the loss against Mexico. They were just really poor in that opening game, but credit to them and their coach. He found ways to improve that team defensively. They conceded way less shots there in the last 2 or 3 games, and the players as well. I mean, if you lose like that in the opening game, that can hurt you emotionally, but they showed a lot of resilience to keep their heads up and grow in the tournament. And you have to say they did their country proud. I mean, first time ever in a knockout game, a very close game that maybe at another day they could have won. A lot of the players were slipping in the final third. You'd like to think maybe if they were a little bit better going forward, they could have gotten a result today. But I think they'll look back with a lot of pride in this tournament for how they played and grew in the tournament.
Yeah, I would agree. I like what Kieran said there as well about playing in that moment for the first time. I think that was something that I was very impressed by the U.S. announcers. I apologize, I don't know the names off the top of my head for the call who was on Fox today. They brought up sort of what it's like to play sort of in these games for the first time ever, and sort of as a reminder, we as the fan are used to watching, your Frances, your Argentinas, and even some of your Switzerlands and your Austrias and these countries that have been there and done that, and they at least have players that carry over and know what that's like. And when you have two countries in Canada and South Africa, where this is the first time any of these players, I would say, I'm off the top of my head, I apologize. I know there's some players like Eustáquio has played Champions League football, so they played it. But I would say Alphonso Davies is probably the only player to reach the real highs of what that club football can really look like. This is an environment and a stage that none of these players have really been able to see before, let alone representing your country then on top of that. And they talk about sort of the caution that sort of comes with that, and people wonder why there may be that sort of dull or boring game out of the first match. These are two teams that are not trying to lose this game. These are two teams that are very much in players that don't want to make any mistakes to cost their country the game. And I think you saw that sort of with the style of play. And they talk about sort of superstars having to step up at the end of the day, and that's where they do. And again, I think that's where Canada's generation led through, but that's to no discourage to South Africa, as I think both of you have been saying, with how strong they played as well. I also believe this is the most countries Africa has ever sent outside of the knockout stage, I think, in World Cup history. I want to say it was something like 8 countries as well. And will there obviously be a lot more we're talking about, but like this is just one of the shining examples for the entire continent, quite honestly, to kind of stamp their name back on the world football stage. I think we obviously have learned about a lot of great African players, but sort of maybe more in our recent lifetime, it's been hard in certain aspects to sort of, especially just seeing that stage on the World Cup level and seeing that success translate. And I think maybe for the first time ever, we're really starting to see the fruits of that labor bear. And while they didn't get the result, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of other African nations in this tournament that are going to be getting these results in the round of 32.
Yeah, most certainly. I completely agree. Like, I know Congo are gonna get into the. I know Congo got in there. Cape Verde are one of the other two in there as well. So, I'm very proud of a lot of the African teams that got in there. Like, I'm just so impressed with how much a lot of the football community just doubted them, and they came in and said, "No, we're just gonna play our football." And I think South Africa did. Like you said, a lot of like what we're repeating here is they've made their nation proud, and I'm just excited for some of the core young players in there, mainly their center back that I just praised as well, with how well he was able to play from the back in the defensive actions despite his height disparity. Comes in and it's just going to be a future inspiration for future South African players. I look at this team and like, we are going to be that for the next coming generation for South Africa. So, um, hats off to South Africa. Hats off to really a lot of the African teams in this World Cup because they've been the ones that have shut a lot of people up. So, you got to give props to them and Canada too. We'll give their props for the win as well. I mean, first World Cup, and like you said, like just to be able to withstand the pressure, just playing in your work, the nerves, the anxiety, the excitement too, where you're not overcomplicating things. Like you got to give a lot of respect to them from that aspect. But um, I guess kind of moving forward, just match day 3 thoughts in general. I know we had Portugal yesterday. Uh, just a few teams that got the results. I know Kieran, you were very blessed. Um, and well deserved of going to your first World Cup game here. We'll kind of start off with you in the sense because yesterday we had Portugal, Argentina, England cap off their match day 3 games. We kind of already knew the U.S. was going to be in there. We kind of already knew a lot of teams were there. We're just waiting for what the big matchups were going to be for in terms of for England and then obviously for Portugal. So kind of capping off our match day 3 recap in a way before we head on to round of 32. I know we started with Canada, but that's because that was the first game today. Um, Thoughts on that Portugal game, man? What was the experience like? The vibes, man.
No, it was really cool. I've never gone to any sporting event close to that level. I mean, it's the World Cup, so obviously it's going to be the biggest stage in the world. But seeing it in person was just amazing. Full house, so there was never a question of attendance. Great atmosphere too, I gotta say. I mean, I sat by a lot of Portuguese fans, so it probably enhanced the experience. They were singing nonstop the whole game. Shout out to Uzbekistan fans, though. There's a decent bit of Uzbekistan fans there. They scored a goal that was disallowed, but even that was cool to see. Them celebrating in the far end was really nice. But no, it was surreal. Seeing Ronaldo score, like, not to be like cliche or corny, but he is one of the greatest probably athletes or at least goal scorers of all time. So seeing him score in person was just like I've never seen anything like that in my life. So to see that up close was amazing. Honestly, the celebration was the coolest part. Like the whole stadium, there's like a sigh of relief, but there's also just like jubilation and rapture. The way they celebrated for him was, I mean, I wouldn't say like a cult following, but the whole stadium going Sue when he is celebrating was
Oh, it is a
amazing.
cult following, bro. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I was gonna say it kind
Honestly,
of is
it
a cult
is.
following
It
with
is a
him.
cult following.
Um, yeah, it was great. I gotta say, one of my favorite moments is maybe the Nuno Mendes goal. I was able to record that on my
Free
phone.
kick,
It
you're
took us
right.
all by surprise. We all thought Ronaldo was going to score or shoot the free kick, but seeing Mendes score, it was amazing. don't know if he's going to score a better goal than that in his career with the implications of it. But yeah, it was amazing. The first half, Portugal were attacking in our end, so I almost had like a bird's eye view of those 3 goals. So that was awesome. Seeing Bruno too, that was the main reason why I went, was to see Bruno play live. He assisted Ronaldo for the second goal, so that was unbelievable to see Bruno. But it was a top day. Great atmosphere.
Yeah, and you've been around
like
with
you
the
said,
fans too. You're spending some time there in Houston with the fan festivals and stuff. That must have been fun too.
yeah,
Like
I
for that
went to
Colombia
the
game as well.
Colombia Congo game, and there was 3 goals scored. I think only one of them counted, but the celebrations for every single goal was amazing. The
yeah.
post game celebrations were sick too. I mean, they were just in absolute rapture. Some people just like dancing, singing. It was really cool. Yeah, I've been impressed with this tournament. I think the fan turnout has been better than I thought. I think we were all a little cautious about what it would be like with the US hosting it, but I think it surpassed expectations for me. And witnessing firsthand in person the unity of this World Cup is just amazing. It was really cool to see.
No, definitely. Yeah, completely agree, man. I'm happy for you as always. Like, and I like kind of like what I got to see with Club World Cup last year because I was just lucky enough to go to those games, like the one where River Plate. We're gonna play here with some of the Argentina fans that pulled up to start their pre game and their post game rituals and celebrations and stuff. I know it's an amazing atmosphere. So just being around, I imagine for you being around those Colombian fans or just passionate fans, they come in numbers. Obviously, with like the U.S. just being so open with a lot of the people coming into a country and stuff, with the immigrants and the generations that come in, you were gonna be in a good time. So I'm happy you got to live that, especially with us South Americans. We're very passionate. But looking from that game that you watched with Portugal, it was a great game. Obviously, what me and Isaac said post game was you did that against Uzbekistan, and when we get into these round of 32 and more so brackets, we are going to go more into Portugal. What were your thoughts on that game? Right. What were your thoughts on that Portugal game? Mainly from yesterday's. What did you see?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty poor, if I'm being honest with them. Going into it, I expected them to be one of like the top 6 teams to maybe win it based off how rich they are in quality, and they were not up to it yesterday. I think Colombia were the better team in terms of chances created. I think they had a lot better of chances than Portugal. I mean, Diogo Costa, I think, made like what 6 saves in total in that game, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know. Portugal just looks so lethargic, so pragmatic. There isn't any kind of like inspiration with them. There's no motivation. It doesn't feel like there's like a tactical sense with them. It's almost just like hoping your players do something. Like we talked about with Berhalter, how there's just so much individualism, hoping your best players just carry you throughout a whole tournament. And I'm seeing that with Portugal. Like they don't look that well set up. They look very frustrated yesterday. I mean, I was watching Bruno a lot, as a United fan, but he looked very frustrated at times. Sometimes there's miscommunication, like Ronaldo taking shots of him, or João Felix taking a shot of someone. They don't look well connected at all. I think Roberto Martinez has gotten a lot of criticism, and I think rightly so. He's either not making the right changes or he's making them too late. Like he didn't even bring on Conceição yesterday, which that was a huge surprise for me. I thought Pedro Neto was okay at best. He brought on Mateus Nunes at the end of the game, which I don't see why you bring on a right back when you need a goal. I'm worried for them. If I had to pick a team, I'd say they're the most disappointing so far, based off how good they are and how much we expected from them. They've been very flat after these first 3 games.
Isaac, give your thoughts before I go off on this fucking team in any minute now.
I think the best part for them has like their misfortune, or not, I shouldn't even say there's more misfortune. I think as Jeff will get into, I think their poor play at moments has brought them into a scenario which they'll be able to prove themselves, which I think is very helpful. I think people are still probably favoring them in the round of 32 game. And all signs are pointing to Spain in that second game. There's your game right there. Are we wrong or are we right? I can go on here and say I think their forwards are very static, quite very boring. I don't know if you can really rely on Ronaldo at this age on a consistent level. I'll have to see it. I think a lot of it's game by game for me and how they're going to line up and how they're going to play. Now, add on top Martinez, as Kieran just talked about, with the worries about that and roster selection and squad selection. I don't know how I can be very optimistic if they're not getting that right, at least. I think we know how good they are in the midfield. I think it's still fair to say. I mean, like they're the best midfield in the tournament. I guess you could debate France again, however they want to line up. I just think of what those players have done, especially in the past year. It's undoubtedly one of the best in the entire sport, and that's why it's so frustrating. I think to see right now, especially Kieran talking about those chances and just seeming off. It's weird in a weird way. It seems unprofessional, and I don't want to say that those players are unprofessional because that's not. I'm not anywhere in a place to say that. But it just like you said, when it comes to not being able to work or gel together, that just seems like stuff you would have had at least a more of an semblance of, especially like we're thinking of a country like Portugal. That seems very weird. Yeah, sure, maybe if Suriname's forwards, I don't know whether it's the first country that popped in my head, aren't gelling together on a consistent basis. Okay, maybe you expect that for a country. Maybe at a World Cup level. Let alone Portugal, let alone then, like I said, on the World Cup level, it's weird. And like you said, when you're comparing it to Berhalter ball, that's scary. Now, at least like you said, they have much better players to where like if you have to rely on a moment of individual brilliance, at least they have like 10 players in that squad where if they pull something off, I'm not shocked. So I'm not going to come on and be Debbie Downer as much as I have been because they still can very easily get out of this next matchup. And who knows? Again, it's that Spain game. My eyes are going to be on that Spain game. If you do not even reach that game, then we know you are a frauds. How they perform in that game is going to be very important and very telling. And again, if Spain doesn't reach it and for some reason they go on a great run, full credit to them. I think they'll then have deserved it as much as that lucky run. But again, that's getting too much into hypothetical future stuff. I don't know. Again, I really don't know with this team. I think that's where I leave off. I think Kieran and jokingly, you're a little bit more optimistic. I'm in the I don't really know, and I think Jeff's about to play the bad cop right here. So I think I'll just sort of pass the microphone off to Jeff and let him get into this. It's weird. Okay, I want to take this moment for 1 second. Normally it is Kieran and Jeff introing and commenting until they send me off into my rant. I do like how now it is me and Kieran introing Jeff for the rant on this episode. So Jeff, take it away on Portugal.
Well, I can go on a rant real quick because I think this is the perfect transition to go into the round of 32 and make our predictions. Because I was going to say, let's talk about England, but they also make me mad. I came into this episode calm and I was like, I'm just going to be articulate. But then everything Kieran just reminded me about that Consensao substitution just made me really mad and boiled me. So I'm just going to take a little breather and we're going to take a quick little break as always. But before I go on this mega rant and go on to our predictions of the round of 32, please give love to the Robin Stone. I know he's my guy. Much love to you as always. Please go out, follow Robin Stone Pictures as always. The man, the myth, the legend who always helps us out with our content out there. So shout out to you for all the great work that you've been doing during this time as well. Man, let me pull up our World Cup bracket because it's time, boys. It's time. We've been waiting. We've loved the World Cup group stage games as always. They've been a blast with everything that we've seen. With everything that has transpired, like the crazy predictions that have come in, the crazy underdog stories that we've seen so far. So we'll before obviously I go on my rant, we'll just look at the table right now, or the bracket as we should say. So obviously we had Canada and South Africa play today. Obviously Canada will go through into the round of 16. Obviously Germany versus Paraguay. I believe they'll be playing in Texas, and I'll try to get the matches as we see from here. Germany versus Paraguay. I believe that game will be at Boston Stadium, at Gillette Stadium, if I want to be more technical as well. We also have France versus Sweden, which will be in MetLife Stadium, which is going to be a blast for the French team that have been there with the fans there as well. One of the big top matches will be that Netherlands versus Morocco matchup, and I believe that one will be held in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. So let me just search that up real quick right here where that will take place. And I think that will be at Mexico. So that's going to be a fun one for the Mexican fans down there in Mexico. Then we have obviously I think if we look at the table here, we have Portugal versus Croatia as well.
Toronto.
And you know what? Let's start off with them because you know what? Portugal versus Croatia. That game will be held in Toronto. So the people of Toronto enjoy that game because you will be seeing two 40-year-olds go at it head to head for what was it, like the fourth or fifth time in the national teams. Because I think they did match up in the Euros as well a few years ago. But Roberto Martinez, you are the biggest fraud in international football. You are a pathetic, sorry excuse of a manager. I don't know how in God's name, and I will mention the Lord's name because what you're doing is sinful. It's devilish what you're doing. And speaking about devils, I look back to your time with the Red Devils in the Belgium national team. Any national federation, right, that are looking to hire this guy, please look at what he's doing for the last few years. You have sold so many fucking teams, bro. So many teams. I look back to that Belgium team and I see what you're doing right now. Get out of this Portugal national team after this World Cup because they can't do it right now. And if they had the balls to, or if anybody had the courage to, I would get them out right now. What you're doing right now is completely fucking pathetic. It's pathetic. You know why? I had you as my winners. Spoiler alert, I had you as my winners coming into this tournament because I believed in the fantasy. I believed that Vitinha and Neves were going to do something. I believed that Bruno was going to do something with this team. I believed that you would find the right system and the right management to have Ronaldo start with the players around him, and even if it doesn't work, you would have the balls to take him out and just bring in like players like Ramos or Felix in that striker role. I believed you would have the right system and the right tactics to finally do this, right? Because there's no way you haven't learned from the errors of that Belgium team. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to improve from that and go into it. I believed in all that. But after yesterday's game, all that went out the fucking door. And you know why? I don't know how in God's name you have 3 of the best midfielders in the world. And I don't care about balance. Fuck that. You have 2 of them who can balance themselves out with anybody in the world. How is it that you have those 3? And I can understand the defensively you're weak. But how is it that we're not creating chances consistently? How is that possible? How is it there's no balance? How is it? How is it that I'm still sitting in these games? I'm like, are they going to create some type of danger, some type of threat, some type of something? And now I know Ronaldo's not the perfect one, and he's going to get the stick of it too. But how is it that those 3 just cannot work? How is that possible? And maybe that's part to the players too, but a system around them. Okay, if it doesn't work, then take someone out and put the balance in there. But still, they took out one of the guys that put Neves in, and it's still shit. So make it sense. Make it make sense. I don't understand this. But the one thing that got me mad, right? I should have known this, bro. I should have known this. When I saw that man start against the Republic of Congo, Bernardo Silva at the right wing, that's where he lost me, bro. And I should have known. How is it that after 2 games, what we just saw, and don't even count that Uzbekistan, because I knew, I used my head. I used my head after that game. I was not going to overreact to that. I was happy, but I want to see this against Colombia and those big national teams because I still haven't seen it from this team. How is it that this Conceição guy, right, who was one of your best players in last year's Nations League, right, who was one of the most vertical, creative players to get you something that can get you a pass, that can break the lines, wherever the hell. How the hell is that this dude is not fucking starting for this team? How is that possible? Wasn't he the one that saved your career in that goal against Germany in last year's Nations League that we still rave about and we still look back to an example? Yet you don't start him. He's one of the best wingers in the Serie A. And you're sitting in a low block. So what do you have to do against a low block? You need to bring pace, verticality, all this shit. All the things that Colombia has in the defense, right? You start Pedro Neto and João Felix alongside a 40-year-old Ronaldo. How are you going to win games with that type of athleticism and speed? It's non-existent. Why? He literally, Rafael Leao is not starting the game. I don't care if he's not that good for AC Milan or if he's overrated. He's damn near better than what the fuck João Felix, Pedro Neto, or whoever else brings in that fucking team. How is it that you're not starting and you don't bring him on for fucking 10 minutes? More than 30 minutes for Conceição and Leao? Disgusting. Get out, man. Get out. Get out, bro. There's no way. You've killed all hope for this national team. You've killed all hope for me. This team is getting knocked out. I don't even want to see the ass whooping that Spain's going to give them. The ass whooping that Spain's about to give this Portugal team, I don't even want to see it, bro. I don't want to see it. It's disgusting. And watch out for Croatia. Watch out, because they were able to break a low block with Modric still in there, with Perisic at 40, both 40-year-olds still killing it, while their 40-year-old can't. And you have strikers in there that can break the lines too. Fuck Roberto Martinez. I said it, man. Fuck you. You made me mad. That was my pick. So now I lost my bet against Colby too, bro, on my brackets. But this is the Outlaw bracket, so that we'll post it tomorrow. But Portugal, just here on out, bro, you're not winning jack shit with that coach in mind. So I guess that's the start to one of our brackets on this side, right? Portugal versus Croatia. I got Portugal getting knocked out in like the Spanish, like when they face Spain. So they might beat Croatia, but just watch out for that game, man. Excuse my language, excuse my French, but any thoughts, any rebuttal to what I fucking yapped about? Because extremely frustrated yesterday. Extremely what I saw. Disgusting. It's disgusting.
No, I agree with a lot of what you said, Jeff. And Martinez, he's been widely criticized for he didn't win anything with Belgium when they had like that golden generation in 2018. I think even with Portugal in the Euros, he made some questionable calls. If you remember the game against I think France in the quarterfinals, he subbed off Bruno before a penalty shootout, which I have no idea why you'd do that. Bruno's one of the best pen takers in the world. Even I remember that game, João Paulinho was like having a really good game for Portugal. They were dominating the midfield battle, and then he subs him off. Like you're subbing off one of your best. I don't know. He just made some weird substitutions in that game, so that's like where it started for me to worry about him. And then he seemingly is just so reluctant to change his lineups for Portugal during games. I mean, I talked about earlier with Conceição how he wasn't even being used yesterday. That was bizarre. I went to the Uzbekistan games, we said, and Leao came off the bench and instantly scored. I mean, I witnessed it firsthand how Leao just causes a lot of problems for defenders. He just has so much pace and energy on the left wing that's a perfect like impact step to make in a game. And he doesn't do it, or he'll give him like 5 to 10 minutes, which is almost an insult for a player of that quality. So, yeah, I think Portugal should look to get a new coach after this tournament whenever they get knocked out. Roberto Martinez, it's weird with him. In the same way we criticize Doc Rivers and like if he didn't win that finals with the Celtics, he wouldn't have a coaching career. It feels like that with Martinez. If he didn't win the FA Cup with Wigan way back in the day, he wouldn't be getting these big gigs with Belgium and Portugal. I have no idea how he landed this job, but I agree. I think Portugal need to move on to someone else that can actually kind of handle the egos, if you will, but also be brave enough to make those big calls. Whether that's
Can I say this too, real quick, Karen, as I interrupt you, because this Leao narrative, right? Look, I completely understand if Leao is not the superstar that we want to see him. I completely understand from that aspect because Roberto Martinez is doing the same thing, and he's kind of like a representation on the field of what people think about Rafael. I understand that for perspective. I love to see him move to a big team because I think same thing too. The environments that Rafael Leao is in is just completely disgusting. The way AC Milan have treated him, the fact that they can't build around him, and the same thing with this Portugal team as well. They just can't find a way to do all these type of things. But I'm so sorry. There is no one on this Portugal team that I can look at confidently with my eyes, with the things that he does, with the impact that he brings into a game, with the quality around him. There's no way that this man is not starting for Portugal in and out. I understand he's not like doing what like you want to see a Vinny do or any other team. I completely understand that criticism. But there's no one on this team that can do what he does. You literally saw it in that Colombia game and that Uzbekistan game. How much his pace can change a game. I understand that Congo game, he did look pathetic. And I was very critical of that. And that's the criticism for a player that I think he should be better. But I know damn well his talent and the impact that he could bring into a game is way better to what João Felix can bring me on the wing or Pedro Neto or whoever else they want to bring. Even Conceição in that fucking manner. So please, anybody like want to think that because he's not this elite player means he shouldn't start? You're being a fool. Please, this man needs to start in the next 2 games if they want to even have a fucking chance to win through. Because that's a player you cannot keep. There's no way you keep a player like this off the bench. He literally created 2 best goal scoring chances for Portugal in that fucking game the minute he came on. And I know it was against dead legs, but then when even the substitute came in, he was still frying that dude. So please don't do this anymore. Please. The narrative around this guy is just makes me boil my brains. But Karen, if you want to say one more thing, or Isaac, come and chip in. I just can't. I can't believe this manager's fucking brain dead like this. It just blows my mind.
Yeah, I just think Kieran kind of really hit the nail on the head when he came to, like, especially lineup decisions. If you're not going to be dynamic on the field, you need to be dynamic with your lineup changes when it comes to these international tournaments. And if you're not willing to do that, then you're not going to get that success that you want on the field. Although I'll be the 180 here because I know we're still taking our picks for this round of 32. I mean, I'm optimistic though again for this Portugal squad against a Croatia. I mean, if you want to look at just like Croatia's group, I mean, look at that that midfield got outbossed by a clearly superior midfield, they lost that game quite handily. And I think it was fair to say I think they got dominated through many aspects of that game. I think this game's going to be won or lost in the midfield if Modric and some of those midfielders are able to create moments of genius and be able to get through that Portugal midfield and that back into that back line. Then yeah, I could see Croatia getting that result that Jeff was talking about. I still think the quality is too good for this Portugal squad to go down to against a Croatia team. I mean, like, let's be honest here. It was a 1-0 result against Panama. Funny enough, I feel like I've seen the U.S. pull off better results than that. At least it feels like in recent years. And you can fact check me on that. I don't know that off the exact top of my head. And they played a Ghana who one of their midfielders isn't even allowed in one of the host countries. And I feel like they'll just leave it there. They weren't playing world beaters when it came to that. So I think I'm optimistic about them in this first round, but I agree 100% when it comes to that Spain matchup. If it does so happen, it's going to be a really tough game, especially when we talk about how dynamic they are. Actually, you talk about how many chances they allow. That Spain offense is going to punish you. And if you're not able to fire back at least 1, 2, maybe 3, 4 times, you're not going to be winning those games, especially with that back line like that. So, yeah, I think it's even stated more than maybe outside of Portugal. Like, just Martinez is really on fraud watch from this. I think that's simple. I think I agree with Kieran. He's got to go.
Needs to go. And I will not go into who they should get because, look, there's a lot of factors that will come into who can replace this Portugal national team because you got one. By the time this tournament ends, Ronaldo needs to retire. It's done. I love you, man. I love what you've done for my team. We love and respect and we honor what you've done in terms of the football career. But this is it, man. I've seen enough now. Yesterday's performance I just saw was just completely pathetic. And I'm just like, you know what, man? That's why I wasn't really overreacting versus Uzbekistan because, like I said, on this Portugal team, I don't rate a lot of people higher than him. But I will say, like, the Portugal federation and the leagues need to find this new elite striker to replace him because I just don't want to see this guy anymore play. It just hurts to see me just the 40-year-old just try to dribble and try to outrun players that aren't even in Europe, like in the best leagues of Europe anymore. Like they have a whole lot of situations to figure out right after this World Cup. It's not only just the manager, but it's then who's going to replace the void of a Ronaldo and who's going to be the front line and all this type of things and the attack and all those other things. But the other games that we will get into as well, Spain versus Austria, obviously US versus Bosnia here in San Fran, and then Belgium versus Senegal, which will be one of the key matches that we'll talk to when we get into the USA games. And then on the other side, we have Brazil versus Japan, Ivory Coast versus Norway, the one that I'm excited to give our predictions to, Mexico versus Ecuador, England versus Congo, Argentina versus Cape Verde, Australia versus Egypt, Switzerland versus Algeria, and Colombia versus Ghana. I did already give my Portugal prediction. I think all of us can agree. I think Portugal will go through with Croatia, so we have that side of the bracket. Germany versus Paraguay. I imagine all of us are similar boats. I think we have Germany going through against Paraguay, a very tough Paraguay team defensively, as we saw. Well, not against the U.S. because we ripped them apart, but against a Turkey and against an Australia as well. Just the 0-0 results and the fact that they conceded 0 goals after those 2 games. Funny how that works. So I imagine everyone here, Germany, going through round of 16.
Yeah, I'd say just don't be shocked. I think Germany's been a little suspect on going forward, especially with some of their roster decisions. So, like, I'm not stamping this full fraud watch, but this is the game I think to keep your eyes on. If you want that upset in the first round on a major nation, I think this might be the game. But I'm still taking them in this game. I know that's contradictory after what I just said, but I'll still take Germany.
Yeah, Kieran?
Yeah, I'll go Germany. I know I agree with Isaac. They haven't been maybe as amazing as we thought, but I think they just have too much firepower for Paraguay, especially after how Germany beat what was it, Curacao, I think, so convincingly that I think if Germany get going, they should be able to win this game fairly comfortably.
Yeah, real quick right now, I'm gonna switch the screens just so that we have other we can just do the brackets hand on, we can literally click on to see who wins. So I'm just switching the screens real quick as I pull this up real quick. That's the stage. Here we go. So we have the bracket. So we all agree Germany to go through. France versus Sweden. I imagine you guys similar thing with Germany. Yeah, we all got France. There's no discussion about that. That around the 16 predictions, that will be an interesting matchup to kind of predict, but I think that will probably be either for Wednesdays or this coming Wednesday's episode or Sunday's episode as we get into that as well. Obviously we had Canada go through, so we'll see Canada go through. Netherlands versus Morocco. Boys, I'm excited for this one. Because obviously I've been big on the Netherlands for like 2 months now because based on the paper, I was just like, we need to see how they play like in the coming tournament with like they have Japan. They were in the group with Japan, Sweden, and I believe Tunisia as well. So I just wanted to see how they look, and they haven't disappointed me. They've looked absolutely amazing. I know they got that result against Japan, but like that was their first game. Japan obviously have the experience and everything, and that's arguably, and as we kind of called it, was going to be one of the favorites to come in to get first or second place. What are your predictions for that game? I'm excited for this one. This is going to be a good one.
I think it'll be a very good game. I agree. I think this will be a game that goes to extra time, if not penalties. I think it can be like that, closely contested. That's just like my gut feeling right now. If I was forced to pick a winner, I would go the Netherlands. I think if you just compare squads on paper, they have the better team. I think my concern with Morocco, I know they're a very competent, very capable team, but I don't think they have the depth necessarily that the Netherlands do. I think Morocco's starting lineup is good, but if you look at their bench, can they really replicate what the Netherlands can do? I don't think so. I think that's where the Dutch, I give them credit. They have a good host of defenders, but also some good attackers they can bring off the bench. I just think the Netherlands will be too strong for them. Of course, 90 or 120 minutes.
Got you, Isaac.
Yeah, It's just I think this is the most difficult one. I think in the entire opening round, 32, for so many different reasons. Especially if you want to talk about form coming into it. I mean, Morocco's been on fire. I know there's obviously that whole AFCON situation, but I mean, outside of that, I think there's no doubt. Especially even if you want to go far back to that last World Cup, we obviously know the run about that. And I guess I'll circle back to my point about all those African countries making it. That wasn't to ignore obviously the great, like Morocco had a phenomenal run. This isn't something like this is the first time ever where this is happening. I think that's just another launching point off of even that last World Cup. Circling back to Morocco, I think we've obviously been talking about plenty of the names, Jeff. I know you've gone into depth about that young midfielder. They have, and sort of the many shining spots they have. I mean, obviously Salbari or Ismail Saibari will be officially obviously joining Bayern. I talked about him. He's their leading goal scorer for this tournament. I fully expect him to get another goal in this game. I think he's just obviously been their most clinical player this entire tournament. I think their offense has really come through him, obviously, in the final product. But yeah, I think I'm still going to have to take the Netherlands in this game. I think for a lot of the same reasons Kieran said, when it just top down on that squad, especially when you're going back into their defense in midfield, just having De Jong, especially as well, someone in midfield as well, is so huge for these tournaments, especially these early games. Just be able to dictate possibly that midfield as well. Again, it's a little bit of a cliche I'm devolving into, but I mean, that midfield's going to be so key. It's been important for Morocco. It's been important for the Netherlands. Who's it going to be more important for in this game is obviously going to dictate a lot. You're probably going to maybe see Morocco a bit more on the counter, which I don't think is obviously very much of an issue with them. We obviously know the pace they have in that squad. Yeah, I guess this is another one where like I don't know if it's as much of an upset watch because I do think these teams are just very well balanced. This isn't one where I think the Netherlands blows them out of the water like some people might say, maybe more compared to like a Germany Paraguay. I mean, Brian Brobby has been, I'm sorry if I butchered his name there, but has been phenomenal as of late. I know he's been super important. I think even just talking about rotation changes that have been made in this tournament that have been super impactful. I mean, I arguably he might be number one. I think he's really obviously changed that defense. And you saw many times in the group stage just how many defenders couldn't even physically really handle him. And that's how this is going to be huge coming into a lot of these matchups if you're just especially just be able to flat out be out more physical and stronger than these guys. So I'm still taking Netherlands, but this is just I'm seated for this game. This is going to be phenomenal.
No, I am completely in agreement with everyone. We're going to go clean sweep here with I believe the Netherlands will pull through, and I kind of like what everyone said. I think their midfield is going to be the key here. But I will say, I think Morocco will approach this game in the sense that they probably are going to go on the break, only because I think Netherlands have so many players, and mainly the key one being Frankie de Jong being the one that will probably pull the strings and maintain the possession and recycle the ball whenever they can, because they have those type of players and technical quality to pull that off. Obviously, that Brobby as well. You have Gakpo, who I said is going to turn up in this World Cup because he just always turns up for the Netherlands and is solid for that team. But I will say their defense. I think Netherlands' defense will probably win them this game only because they have the pace in Van de Ven, Van Heckel, who I think went to Spurs, Van Dijk, who obviously is, I think, having a decent World Cup as well, one of the best in the tournament as well. I just think that defense alone can really just sustain the attacking qualities that Morocco will have. Obviously, it's not going to be a perfect clean sheet in my opinion because you still have Hakimi. I can't pronounce his name. I'm awful. That's one of my Achilles heels in this career of mine is pronouncing the names of what is it, Salibi? I think. How do you pronounce it? Sabari. Is that how you pronounce it? Sabari?
I think so. Saibari.
So him as well. So that's going to be like I don't think you're going to keep a clean sheet, but I think you have the defensive midfielders and the defenders to really just kind of neutralize it for like a good 90 minutes, and you trust your offense to really get at them. So I'm going to go with Netherlands as well. I completely agree with everyone. So going back to the stage here, we do have as a group going with the Netherlands to pull this off. So Netherlands and Canada matchup, which will be interesting as well. Spain versus Austria. I think it's very clear here. I think Spain are just too much for an Austrian team that are okay. You know, they're a decent European team, but the Spanish team, even though they haven't played that great, I think I've gone into this tournament conceding no goals. I've heard good things about Power Group RC's World Cup tournament as well. So I just see Spain going through, and I imagine everyone is in agreement as well. All right, so we'll go with Spain. Next matchup, we'll wait for USA. We'll wait for our USA boys, and we'll kind of also wait for Belgium and Senegal because that's the other thing that we'll give our predictions to. But we'll go on to the other side with Brazil versus Japan. This is another one that I looked at and I was like, this is a little tough one for Brazil. This isn't going to be as easy as we all think it might be, if I'm not mistaken, right?
No, I agree. I think I've been impressed with Japan this tournament. I think they're a very well coached team. They're like very, very organized defensively and very disciplined. I mean, they drew against the Netherlands. They had a great game against them. I think this will be a tough game for Brazil. I think Japan will make it very, very hard, especially defensively. Japan, they play to their strengths. They know who they are. They don't try and beat someone they're not. But I think Brazil have impressed me. I was worried about them going into this World Cup, but Vinny, it's been great. I think he's got 4 goals this tournament. Cunha, he's got 3 goals. He's in good form as well. So I think Brazil's attackers have really livened up this tournament. I would expect Brazil to win. I would say maybe like a 3-1 or even a close 2-1. I think it'll be a very even game for most of it, but I think Brazil's quality up front is just going to make the difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Isaac?
I would agree. I doubled down, Jeff. You'd be happy on my Vinny love for this tournament. Outside of taking him not only for my Golden Boot leader, ultimately for this tournament, I had to add him on the fantasy team as well. He's simply been too productive for me not to get him on there. So I'm rooting a little bit harder for Brazil. Hopefully Vinny can grab a few goals for the team in this game. But I agree. I jokingly think this will kind of be the popular upset as much as those kind of feel like they contradict each other just because of, again, how good Japan has been. And I think maybe how leaky Brazil has been at some moments. And I think I would just downplay that by just saying, like, I think as we've properly given them, this is just a good quality Japan side. And I don't know why people have to look at them as like a huge upset nation. Obviously, when you're playing major nations like Brazil, Argentina, and France and stuff like that, I get it. While they're always going to be by default have to be the upsets or the less likely to win, and they're going to be lower in the odds. But this just has been a good team, at least when it comes to getting to the stage. They've played teams well. I mean, again, this is going back, but even if you want to go back as far to 2018, we've seen sort of the revamp that they've had on their soccer system and how they've been able to compete on just an international level. So it's been great. I'm still taking Brazil, but this will be another. I think this is the other one. I think outside of maybe that Netherlands, Morocco, this will be the other one. I think a lot of people have eyes on.
Yeah. No, I like what you said, Isaac and Kieran. You do bring up some good points about Japan as well with how impressive they've been. I think Japan have been really good this World Cup, obviously, and I agree with you. I really like your point about how they're kind of it's going to be the popular like, oh, this is the upset, this is going to be the sleeper pick, like it's almost this is like I guarantee you Japan is going to be like the next, like, watch out for Japan, watch out for Turkey, watch out for all these teams, watch out for Belgium, even though we know Belgium are not that good, but watch out for them, type of team. And I think they kind of need to get out that bracket because I think for the last few, like, remember they had that in 2018. I look back to 2018, they had that great game against a prime Belgium team where if there was just a little bit more of like composure, they probably would have pulled off one of the better upsets in that 2018 like round of 16 matchup between Belgium and Japan. And then Qatar, like, I mean, they pulled off that result against Spain, and I don't know what team knocked them out in Qatar. I don't remember who. But
Pull that up.
I think
yeah,
it was Croatia.
was it
On
Croatia?
pens. I think it was on
Croatia on
penalty kick,
pens.
yeah.
And they went against Croatia, who went to the semifinals, and they took them to penalty. So this is a team now that has the experience, the reputation now, where it's like, stop discrediting Japan. This is a big nation now to play in football. So I agree with you. It's gonna be a tough one for Brazil, but I think Brazil, with the way they've been playing, they've gotten better since that Morocco game. I would say, with the way now, like, it's a platform for Vinny. And while I do think the Rafinha injury does suck, I just feel like it kind of alleviates now the like pressure and the discontinuity of the offensive line, where it's like, who are we depending on? Is it going to be Rafinha? Is it going to be Igor Thiago? Is it going to be Endrick? Is it going to be Esteval? This is Vinny's team. But alongside Vinny is a guy who has been absolutely world class this World Cup tournament, which has been obviously Mateus Cunha. So I'm happy that Cunha and Vinny have built that kind of partnership that honestly works, because if Vinny's going central, Cunha is the type of brilliant player where he can go in the middle or go to the left wing and just kind of give space and options to Vinny. And their link up has been absolutely amazing this World Cup. It's been a joy to see. I just love that Vinny is now playing with a striker that is kind of like a link up type of person. I know Mbappe is an elite forward and elite striker. I'm just saying from the fact of like it's a different profile of just linking up. But Cunha's been scoring goals as well, just being the threat that he is. So Karen, if Cunha and Vinny just take this team to the final,
stop doing this. You did this with an Olise. No. You're stay away from Kieran. You don't get the post.
No. Hold up. Chill. I know what you're thinking. No. I'm not saying that. No, we're not gonna sign him. I'm just saying
if get his hands off of him.
No. I'm not saying. Madrid got you. No. Chill. I'm just saying, if Cunha and Vinny take this team as far as they can to like a final, even, which I don't see happening because I don't think they're that strong. I'm just saying, me and you are gonna hit the Cunha dance. That's all I'm saying. Okay. We're gonna go on TikTok and we're gonna hit that shit.
I can get on board with that one, Jeff.
Can you be the Cunha to my Vinny? That's literally what I'm saying.
I would love to do a little surfing lesson.
Do a little. Right, we're in Cali, bro. Come up to Cali, we'll do the surfing. Or no, I have to pull up to New York. Or I have to pull up to New York, actually.
Why would we go to New York for surfing?
Yeah, Cali's the place to go for surfing.
No, I'm just saying from the fact that the final's going to be there, so I have to go to you.
I see.
They do go to the final. If they do it, man, I'm telling you, we're going to hit the Cunha and Vinny dance. But yeah, no, that's definitely...
In Western New York, like, wait, who, us?
I love you, Doc. I love you, Isaac and Doc. I love you guys. So yeah, I think we're all going with Brazil here, but let me get out the screen real quick and actually just do that on my screen real quick. Just Brazil to go through. We have so many, like, it's going to be a little bit of a long episode here, but we got so many. These are the next two that I'm really excited to go into. But we'll go into a quick break real quick, as always, just to give our love to our sponsors real quick. Please, as always, follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Much love to you guys, as always, our fans out there. Much love. Thank you for all the support and the love, and we hope to get more content out there as the World Cup comes. But we have two interesting, brutal matchups here. On that side of the bracket, Brazil side, or Argentina side, as we like to say it. Ivory Coast versus Norway. I am torn. I have not finished my bracket because I'm torn between these two teams. I just don't know what's going to happen. I don't know who's going to win this game. I know Norway came in resting a few of their key players. Very frustrated with that decision. I wish we had more time to kind of like talk about that, but I don't think we have enough time for that in that sense. But they made that decision to rest a lot of their key players for this Ivory Coast round of 32 matchup, right? So they're going to be fully right. Like Haaland's going to be good to go. I think Sorloth got some rest. Odegaard too. I think the right winger as well also got one of their wingers got some rest as well. They're up and coming. I think Nusa, I think that's his name, right? Correct, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah,
they're gonna be fully loaded and rested. But this Ivory Coast team has been so impressive. I mean, Yan Diomande has been lights out. Ahmed Diallo's in there. Their midfield has been solid too. Their defense has experience as well, and it's fairly a young team too. Who do you guys got?
I think, based off the bracket I previously made, I kind of want to like stick to my guns when I say this. I'm gonna go with Norway. Now this could be another like extra time PKs type of game. I just think Norway's attack. It's good. They're gonna be a team. I think that they're gonna concede goals. I have not been impressed with Norway's defense, but Norway seems like a type of team that would win like 3-2, 4-3, 5-4, that type of team. I just think with Haaland, with Sorloth, with Nusa, I think that attack is just really going to carry them. I think they could be too much for Ivory Coast. I'm worried about Yan Diomande, though. I've been super impressed by him. No one's really stopped him with this tournament, but based off a coin toss, I would go Norway just.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll go the hot take here, Jeff. I apologize. I think this is just hands down Norway. I don't know why this Ivory Coast team is so like the unstoppable force for Holland. I mean, maybe that's just a hot take. Maybe I'm overreacting to how good he's been. Simply put, I don't know many teams that are capable of stopping Holland. I don't know how many defenses are capable of stopping Holland throughout this tournament. I don't disagree with Kieran's point about the defense. I don't think this is why I would take Norway to go super far. I mean, if we're looking at right now, they'd play Brazil in a round 2. I don't think any of us are really going to take them past maybe a Brazil, especially if you're going for into a shootout. I think this game is going to turn into a shootout like we might talk about. And I don't know how you're not taking Holland to win that shootout sort of in any game. I think outside of that, I think even just how Odegaard has looked better as of late. I think as the tournament has gone on, I think he's looked a lot more dynamic, and I think his link-up play with a lot of other players. I think that just the whole forward dynamic has been a lot more dynamic. I don't know if I really articulated that great. I apologize. But yeah, I'm just not doubting Holland in this tournament. I quite frankly, there hasn't been a tournament or a league or a competition he stepped into that he hasn't been able to produce and score goals. This is just a little bit of that glaze segment. I apologize there. And I'm sorry if I'm doubting on Ivory Coast, but this was, I mean, you're going back to 2024. They had to go to pens against the Senegal team that obviously maybe the Senegal team now I talked about isn't the height of that 2024 team, but Norway was able to obviously get through that and get through a result against them as well. Like, I think they've been able to produce against a multitude of different squads. I mean, like you said, they rested their whole team against France. This is a team that is fully fit. I think this is even probably a matchup that they were zeroing in on and probably gaming ahead of time and studying going into this match. So I'm just taking Norway without a shadow of a doubt, I guess, against Ivory Coast.
Yeah, I like what you both said. I think it is going to be a shootout. The reason I put Ivory Coast in here is just because they got out second in this group with a team that had a Germany and an Ecuador who finished second.
This is the one of the I can't. This is, I mean, they haven't made it out of the group stage. This Germany team is not good. I will step in here. I want people to severely low. I think Germany is closer to an Ivory Coast than they might be like a Brazil or a France with how they've been in this tournament.
I mean, but you still got to respect the fact that with the names that Germany have and all these type of things, and I think Germany. I know that Ecuador game was a lot. I just think Germany kind of threw that out the door, but. Well, you still have to get the fact that with the names that they have as well, the way they were able to like at least perform against that Germany team too, and probably could have gotten a result if they were just a little bit more fortunate. I think they would come in with the confidence as well. So that's why I kind of put them up there with the fact that they were able to withstand against a Germany team that still have better names and talents than them, I should say. But I do agree with you. This Germany team is not the ones of the past. You know what I'm saying? Which is why I'm not going to say like Ivory Coast is going to beat the living hell out of Norway. It's going to be a tough one, obviously. But I do see your point. But I don't know. Maybe yeah, Norway probably going to go through. That's kind of my thing because it is going to be a shootout, and I like what you just said. If it's a shootout and you got Erling Haaland on your team, yeah, I don't know how he doesn't just come in and score like 5 or more than you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go with Norway as well. So everyone is with Norway, correct? But watch out for Ivory Coast. They will make it a tough game for Norway, obviously, because they have those players like Amad Diallo, Yan Diamande, and all these type of things too. So everyone is in agreement for Norway to go through with that Brazil matchup, which is going to be hype. Next one, oh man, I thought Mexico were going to have that matchup with England with ease. They got Ecuador, man, at the Azteca. I'm excited for this one, and unfortunately, I will not be able to watch this because I will be working tomorrow from 3 p.m. till like 11 p.m. at night. So I will probably have to get the notifications while I'm, waitering and all these type of things. But what are your thoughts on this matchup? Because I thought Mexico were gonna get like an Ivory. I don't know who they were potentially going to go up against.
It would have been Ivory Coast, I think.
It would have been Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
But now they got Ecuador, who I know have been very disappointing this tournament. But that result that they got against Germany, again, it gives you the confidence, to say, hey, if we're able to get a result against Germany in like the last match day, who's to say we can't go to the Azteca against Mexico and get something, knowing how good our defense is, how good our midfield can be. And if we're clinical and we can get some goals in there, we can get a result. What are your thoughts, guys? Who's going to win this matchup?
See, I don't know. I've been very disappointed with Ecuador in this tournament. I don't think they've been as good as we thought they were going to be, paired with the fact that Mexico have home field advantage, and that's been wonderful for them. I don't think they've conceded a single goal yet. So, I mean, Ecuador have a very good defense, but Mexico has not given up a goal, so they have a very good defense right now too. I thought Ecuador were going to finish second in their group. I think it's very disappointing that they didn't. I know that they beat Germany, but then again, that German team had already qualified for the knockouts, so maybe their foot was off the gas pedal, metaphorically, of course. Um, I'm going to go Mexico. I think being at the Azteca, having a lot of Mexican fans there, that's like a 12th man. I think they should get the job done against Ecuador. I think maybe like a 2-0 win will suit Mexico.
I mean, I think I would agree. Obviously, I talked about it with the Canada result. Like, I'm going to back CONCACAF nations first in this tournament. Again, I think for a lot of the reasons they've had to rely, you're looking at an Ecuador squad, and you've had to rely on someone like an Enner Valencia for this tournament. No goals for him. I mean, he's pushing 40. Obviously, he's not solely in that attack, but there's obviously have other options. But yeah, when it comes to these knockout stages, we've talked about it a lot, Champions League or any of these major tournaments. Ultimately, it comes down to how clinical you can be. And if you haven't been clinical through most of this tournament, I don't know how I can expect you to be clinical now. Mexico kind of has been when they needed it. I don't think their offense has been firing on all cylinders. I think their defense obviously has been the point of strength for them. And that's obviously going to be tested in these upcoming rounds. And yeah, it's going to be tough. But yeah, they have home field advantage. It's like, I think that's going to be just so huge, let alone just it being the Mexican fan base. That means more than I think Canada being at home for a Canada game. That means more than the U.S. being at home in the U.S. for a U.S. game. It just does for what that environment, for what it means for that culture, for what it means for that entire country. And I think that's going to come through. I think we've seen it obviously in the first 3 rounds, but there's even that bit of feeling for Mexico fans where you're not obviously like switching off. I don't mean it in this sense, but okay, it's group stages. Okay, I think you're even expecting to get out of the group stages knowing you're hosting, even looking at the group you have. Okay, it's knockout. It's do or go home time. Like even the fans know to bring it up to even the another level or the highest level they possibly can. It's going to be fun to watch, and yeah, I'm going to go Mexico in this game.
I see all your points, and like I said, it's not going to be like a guaranteed. My prediction here is I think Ecuador got this. I think they can pull it off. I thought the way that I think from the Ecuador games that I've seen, right, I just think they haven't been clinical. And I think in that aspect, I think stuff like that can completely change. I know Enner Valencia has not been clinical, but I think clinicalness is something that it can change. Like if you're going a good run of form, like if Plata gets a goal, he has the confidence now to go into the next game and get a goal or two. And I know Mexico is a tough defensive team, so I can see this being like a 0-0 because I also don't think that Mexico's offense has been that great. I know they got the 3-0 win against Czechia to get that to close off the group stage game, and they had some few players score their goals. But at the same time, I just don't think they're like that offensively great. Where I'm like Ecuador are just not going to be able to like contain that because they too have arguably on paper like one of the stronger defensive teams. So it can be like a 0-0, and I can just see with the experience with some of those players that they have with Enner Valencia, maybe he just chips in with a goal, maybe once in there, just one little goal in there, and they can pull through. And you have a Caicedo in there who has the experience of playing in some of these type of tournaments, so maybe he can pop in with something as well. But I also just will say with the home field advantage, you're absolutely right. But I'm just curious to see how many Ecuadorian fans will be able to get inside the Azteca. Only because the Ecuadorians, knowing our South American people, they can pack a house. So it might be a an away game for them, but there might be a good sections in there that might make it like neutralize it in a way, but I don't know about that, to be quite honest, because it might be the Azteca too. But I will also say too, with the home field advantage, the one thing that Mexico does have the advantage is the altitude with the stadium as well. But guess what? Ecuador has the experience of playing with the altitude as well. So I look into those factors, and I can see like a little cheeky Ecuador 1-0 win and just start their campaign that to get them going. What we expected them to be in terms of like being one of the top South American teams. So I'm gonna go with Ecuador, one little cheeky 1-0 win. But if you disagree, again, these are predictions. Could be wrong, but it can go either way. I can see Mexico also just winning through as well. We're quickly going to power through all these other predictions as well. England versus Congo.
England.
Look, we all have England, right? All I'm going to say is Mr. Thomas Tuchel. There's a Man United midfielder that is rotting on the bench right now. And I don't know what you see in the midfield of Jude Bellingham, Elliot Anderson, and Declan Rice, or Morgan Rogers if you want to put him in too, because I know he switched the lineup against Panama. If I don't see Kobe Mainu start in this team, bro, please leave. Please leave. I don't know what. You need something. You need a spark in that midfield just to get you going. Another variable, another identity. Please just start Kobe Manu. Please. Get him going. Please. Please. This midfield lacks something, a spark. And you have a 21, 22-year-old midfielder in there that can give you that little spark of creativity and touch and ability to move the ball forward at a quicker pace. Please. Please play him. Please. Please. I don't understand it. I don't know what Kobe Mano needs to do to start for some of these teams. I'm not saying he's the best midfield in the world and this and that. All I'm saying is he's better than what some of you guys, or just brings the balance to a team. He brings the balance. And if you're crying out for physicality, well, guess what, smartass? He brings the physicality too for what he brings to that Man United team. Are you in agreement, Stock, or no?
I agree with how good Manu is. My only thing is like if Rice and Anderson are fit, I just don't see how he starts over them. I think Rice and Anderson are very, very good. Now, if Rice is hurt, I would 100% agree with seeing Manu in there. Like even yesterday, I caught the end of the England game. He subbed on Jordan Henderson. Like at that point, you should sub on Manu. I don't know why Henderson's getting game time out of him. But then I'm kind of calmer with England. Like we criticized Southgate for many years for not having a system, for not knowing what he's doing, and I think Tuchel seemingly has some sort of system, and it's worked so far. So if England keep winning, I can't question them too much. But I do agree. I think the fact that Manu hasn't played at all is a bit strange. But then again, I remember the last year I was in 2024. Manu didn't start the first couple games. Then, like you said, Jeff, he came off the bench, really made a name for himself to the point where he started against Spain. So maybe that happens here where he does play, but trying to be objective about it, I don't see if he starts this week if Rice is fit, but I think he would make an impact off the bench with his fresh legs.
And maybe it's just one of those smaller things of like maybe more English fans take for granted when it comes to sort of like hiring international managers. I think obviously there was a big deal made about obviously going out and hiring a German coach and breaking sort of that English tradition. And it's fair to say, obviously, growing up in England, being English, and sure being an English manager, plenty of them have played, plenty of them represented England. There's always a bit of knowledge, obviously, what that means. That's not to say Tuchel doesn't know what it means to represent Germany and how important that is. I'm not saying he's obviously ignorant to that, but it's obviously not at the top of his mind, I think, as compared to a lot of other things when it comes to this tournament, when it comes to roster selection, to game plan, matching up who he wants to do, keeping an eye out, studying game film, all the different things that go into game prep. Like that's maybe his mind isn't towards like, oh, let me getting Kobe Manu some minutes in the World Cup, like what that would mean. Now, granted, I maybe would say that's wrong. Maybe I think there needs to be a step back and see what that would mean to him to even for something like that to get minutes in the World Cup, whether it be for 30 minutes. Like you said, there's no reason I think at that stage Jordan Henderson should be getting 36 minutes and Kobe Manu should be running on the bench. That doesn't make a lot of sense. So maybe it's just one of those small things. Again, who knows? I don't know if it's something Tuchel's ever going to have to really answer for. We'll see. Obviously, if he keeps winning, it's not really going to matter. And I think even if he loses, I don't know if Manu would be like I don't think we'd walk out of an England loss and walk away and be like, you know what? If Manu was in, if he would be the sole reason they didn't lose that game. That's not to discredit him. I just don't know if he would be the one solely responsible for like an England loss or being able to fix an England loss in that hypothetical situation. So yeah, as you take England, I think it's correct to note England. And hey, that's just Tuchel being Tuchel.
No, I completely agree. My thing for is I don't think Kobe Manu is, for the time being, I guess, better than an Anderson or a Rice or a Bellingham. I'm just saying it from the fact of like you need some sort of balance, I would say. And I just feel like with Anderson and Rice just getting the same things in terms of like their physicality and ball winners and all these type of things. And then with Jude, same thing as well. So, and when you're going against low blocks and you're going to go up against that with teams like with Congo, for example, against Mexico, and then maybe against an Argentina too, like you might see some type of defensive scheme where like they're going to neutralize a Jude Bellingham or an Anderson or whoever it is, or a Rice, for example. You might need that little extra spark. So I want to see him. I'm not saying start, obviously, because that's not going to happen. I would not do that. But please, if Jordan, like Kieran said, if Jordan Henderson is getting fucking 10 minutes, and I haven't seen Kobe Mano make one fucking appearance when they've been struggling in a few games, especially that Ghana game, and you need just some little type of different offensive piece and player, Kobe Manu can definitely bring that. So please, Tuchel, just maybe not start him, man. Maybe you will see that down the road as like the Euros, but please give him some minutes please, just please. You need something new. I saw it against that Panama game. and that Ghana game. You need something. You look lackluster a few times. You look like you're out of ideas. You look dead at times. But we'll see later down the road in the tournament. So we have England going through as obviously Argentina versus Cape Verde. I'm not even
Argentina.
come on. Sorry, Cape Verde, we love you guys, but you're going up against Vozinha. You're an amazing goalkeeper. I'm happy with all the things that's going to bring to you, but
It helps the runtime.
God, you're gonna see what Messi is all about, bro. I'm telling you. Australia versus Egypt. I'm gonna go with Egypt here. What do you have?
I was gonna say Australia actually, just for like the sake of it. I don't know. I was impressed with Australia against Turkey and Panama, or not Panama, Paraguay. I'll just for the sake of a bold prediction pick Australia. I could be wrong entirely, but I'll go Australia for the time being.
I think one of the reasons I went Egypt was I noticed I was actually going against a lot of African nations, and again, I don't think I can be giving praise to sort of how well Africa's done and not back a few of these countries, or at least a few of these countries to get through. I think Egypt, obviously, they've done what they needed to do to get to this stage, and I don't think Australia is by any means a large gap in sort of the difference between them. So I'm going to Egypt there. I'm excited to watch them in that game. I think that could be another sneaky fun one. I think out of all these, I think you get a nice maybe like a 3-2
right,
or
I
a
was
4-3
saying
in that
too,
game.
but right, completely agree. And I mean, I did see Egypt play yesterday. I'm just defensively they are kind of concerning, but I also don't think Australia have those type of players to really cause that type of danger. And look, I trust Salah. You know, Salah. First time I think Egypt have made well in the World Cup a knockout round appearance. So shout out to Salah for being one of the main guys to lead into that. And you know they did get a decent result against the New Zealand as well against Mr. Tim Payne as well. So yeah, he has a decent share against these type of Asian teams as well, Mr. Mohamed Salah. Switzerland versus Algeria. I got Switzerland to be quite honestly. I've not been impressed with Algeria whatsoever. Look, when you have Lucas Zidane and goalkeeper, I just don't trust you to be quite honest with you. So, and Switzerland they have Granit Xhaka too, so I trust Xhaka to rip one. And Algeria, that's it for you, man. No offense, Kieran. Are you in the same agreement? I know we kind of zoomed past these few, but
see, I'm kind of conflicted now because when I saw you my bracket today, Jeff, I actually picked Algeria, but now the way you guys are talking, I might. No, I'll stick with Algeria, but I could be entirely wrong. I don't know. I wasn't too convinced with Switzerland, especially against Qatar, and maybe that was just like the first game rust, but I don't know if Switzerland are quite the team of like 2021, 22 when they're like a real dark horse. I could see Algeria like with Mahrez and a couple other players still causing problems. So I'll go Algeria. I'll just keep it at that.
Completely agree. The next matchup, I'm very curious because there is a player that I won't name, but is he allowed to play in this game, Mr. Isaac Hausen? I don't know where Colombia and Ghana are playing, but I know this player cannot play in a certain country. But
well, I think that might matter with where that game is. I'll double check. I think FootMob's been very clutch for keeping all the locations on like their knockout bracket.
I'm just curious. I just need to know because I know this guy.
I'd assume he'd be able to be playing that game.
I mean,
it's the Kansas City Chiefs. If you let Rashid Rice play football for you, and no offense, you got to allow Thomas Partey on the field. I mean, no. I mean, they're both heinous acts. They should both deserve jail time. But it wasn't there that other former chief that just got like found like for like murder, like he killed that woman like in South America or something like that. But then it was like on his property, and it's like, no, I didn't know her. And then they like found footage. Like,
wasn't there a Cape? No, like I think another Cape Verde player too got accused of something. I think
either in New Zealand or Australia back like during like training or preparation. There was one of their players was accused of I think sexual assault. I think it was gone to FIFA. I think it's just under investigation. I'd assume you'd hear more stuff from that after the World Cup. But yeah, it's no tournament without controversy.
Yeah. But I do have Colombia going through. I think even with, I just was curious whether that's going to also play a factor, whether there's going to be a beatdown or just a win. But I have Colombia winning this game. I know they weren't very clinical against Portugal as well. I think they could have gone and win. Very unfortunate that they weren't able to get the win, but it is what it is. It's offside. It's offside for the rules that it is. But again, I think they're defensively one of the stronger teams. And I can see this being another like. It's unfortunate that these early rounds are probably going to be 0-0s. I'm going to be completely honest with you. This is another one. Add to that like Mexico versus Ecuador game. Like this is going to be another like 0-0. I think where it can go to either a last minute winner or a penalty shootout. But I do see Colombia pulling through. I think James has been absolutely okay for what he's done for his age. In the World Cup, he's able to break down the lines, and I think if Colombia are just a little bit more clinical, they get the win. So I'm just gonna go with Colombia. But I wouldn't be surprised if Ghana make it really tough to the point where I'm like, yeah, they could get a result here, you know. But I'm still gonna trust Colombia's magic with Luis Diaz and James to pull through into the into these knockout rounds. But everyone's in agreement. Colombia to go through.
Yeah, I'll go Colombia as well. I love the phrase, Jeff. Absolutely okay. I think we got to start using that more. I don't know why that was like stuck in my head, but yeah, I'll go Colombia. You said Hamels was you said he was absolutely okay. Like, what does that mean? He was okay.
Yeah, I mean he's absolutely man. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. All right.
Jesus.
I'm just using that for like movies now. I think actually, if I'm going to like a theater, what'd you think? That was absolutely okay.
2.5
Sorry, it's been a long day. It's been a long day.
Like
but
going out in your retail job, be like, "How's your day?" Absolutely okay, and then they just like walk by.
Not good, not bad, just okay.
But I guess for some of the games that we have for the round of 16, we are predicting it to be a Germany versus France, Canada versus Netherlands, Portugal versus Spain. Oh shit! Forgot about our national team. Jesus fucking Christ. Well, last one of the day, boys. USA. What are our feelings for this game?
You have to win. Like, I mean, but no discredit to Bosnia. Bosnia is a great side. It's going to be a tough game. Obviously, we saw that in the group how they were able to grind out that result. Obviously, or that in that game against Canada, it's going to be tough. But you need to beat them. If we're a serious nation, if we're a top 10, top 15, top 20, whatever in the world, like whatever we want to consider ourselves from a foundation level, we have to go in with the mentality, but we also have to just have the belief that we're going to beat a team like that. And yeah, we have the better players. Like, simply put, I think you're taking most players on. I think most players on our side would start for a Bosnian team. I know some of the Bosnians on social media have been getting a little bit active. It's the first time I've ever seen them on social media. I'm not going to lie, for the first time ever. So it's funny how they always pop
up. They're growing in numbers, bro. They're growing in numbers only because I had a friend of mine who's not really big into soccer. Shout out to Italo. He was like, dude, I really love that new Bosnia song. Like the new the World Cup Bosnia song. I was like, how does it go? It's like, I am from Bosnia, want to go to America. I'm like, okay. So they're picking up motion in that sense with like the memes and stuff, and then walking through Inglewood as well. So that's gonna bring like some fan base from I'm not gonna say the gang affiliation there. I'm not gonna say that. It's crazy. But no, they've been solid, like you said. They have the fan base here. I know they have a big population here in LA, I believe too. I know they're big in Toronto, around that area, if I'm not mistaken, but they've got some numbers here too as well. But yeah, I think USA got this, man. Not to sound like overly confident, but like you said, I think it's not only just with the players that we have and the names, but the way we've been playing. I don't think I need to sound like a broken record. Like the way we've been playing as well has just been absolutely amazing, and I just don't see a world where they beat us. I think we can easily take care of business and get like a comfortable 2-0, 3-0 win, especially with Pulisic coming back.
Yeah, I think the US will win. I think it'll be our toughest game to date. I think Bosnia are a good team. They've done well in this World Cup. I will say, watch out for set pieces. Bosnia, a very set piece reliant team. They scored the most set piece goals out of any European team in qualifiers. So that's definitely do your homework on that. But then again, the US have actually scored a decent number of set piece goals in this World Cup. So maybe that kind of like negates each other. But yeah, I think the US should win. I'd say 2-0. The home field advantage should work and our momentum. I think Bosnia, maybe like Australia, like very defensive, but I think if you eventually score that first goal, it'll be tough for Bosnia to get back in the game.
Completely agree. If I'm not mistaken as well, this game will be in San Fran. I really love the home stretch that the US will have. I mean, I know San Fran has been able to pack some of those lesser available games, but from what I've seen with the fan zones and the fan environments down in San Diego, did I say San Francisco? San Francisco, my apologies. San Diego and San Francisco are complete opposite ends. My apologies. But around that areas too, outside of LA, the fans have been absolutely loud and amazing and packed in some of those fan zones and fan festivals. So I'm excited for the packed house that we're going to see. So we're definitely going to have home field advantage from that aspect. And then the next game in the round of 16, if we do go through in Seattle, oh my God, I can't wait to see Seattle again. I've been so impressed with them with the packed stadiums and obviously the fan base that we saw when we played against Australia as well. But yeah, no, I see us going through. But in the counter to your because you did mention the set pieces that Bosnia will bring in, I think we counter that based on the fact that we are so athletically gifted. I know I've said that so many times, but McKennie, Adams, Freeman, Tillman, Ream, Richards, Balogun. That alone for me just helps counter that, with the height and the speed and the athleticism. So I'm not too worried on that aspect because I think we'll do our homework to know like we are going to stop that. Because I don't think we've conceded that I don't think we've been very like concerned with our set pieces in that aspect. From what I've seen in the few games that we played against Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey as well. I know we lost to Turkey, but fuck them, bro. Fuck out of here, man. How mad were you that day, man? For real. Fuck, I was pissed.
Is that me or Kieran?
Both of you, because I was
I
pissed.
just I don't know why you're scoring a game winner when you're knocked out of the tournament. Like, cool little bro, enjoy the flight home. I'm sorry. Like that.
The celebrations
you did it
got me
against our B
mad.
team. Congratulations. I mean, it's one of those. Like, I get it. Us being just sort of the villain in like the world we live in. Like you're going to get that. We're going to be a team you're going to be happy about upsetting. We're going to be a team you're happy about beating. So I need to live with that. I'm like a Yankees fan, so whenever teams love beating us in the postseason or whatever, I get it. They're going to celebrate maybe a little extra harder. It's as a Lakers fan, as a Patriots fan, like here, as a United fan, like there's just when teams beat you, they like to beat you. It means a little bit more. I think it's just kind of like that.
Right. Yeah, I was just mad that after the game I had to eat turkey. So I was just kind of pissed off about that too. I was
You
like,
had to like the Turkish fans held
That
like
was
a gun
only-
to your head.
No. That was the only thing that I was able to eat for like a late night dinner. So I was very mad. I was very pissed off with myself. I was like, "Fuck you." But we also had Belgium versus Senegal, and we're kind of close it off here for the episode. Thank you again, boys, for being on here. Belgium versus Senegal, another kind of close game, but I'm gonna go with Senegal to start things off. I think Senegal are gonna pull it off. I haven't been too impressed with Belgium this tournament as of late. Actually, I don't know. I forgot they did win 5-1 against Australia. Damn, now I'm kind of overthinking this. Fuck. No, I'm gonna stick to my guns. I think Senegal. I know Senegal also won their game against Iraq like 5-1, so I guess I kind of canceled this off. But they're the AFCON champions for a reason. Yes, they are the AFCON. I'm not gonna take that Mickey Mouse title, strip them away, whatever the hell. They are the AFCON champions for a reason. They still have experienced players in there. They have some young guns in there too. Belgium, just not that impressed, I would say, but I don't know. Who do you guys? I'm gonna go with Senegal. Senegal to go through, and we play them in the round of 16 if we go through as well.
Yeah, I was gonna earmark this game as like one of the bigger upsets. I think Senegal will beat Belgium. I think Belgium have been very poor, like up there with Portugal in terms of being poor. I know they beat New Zealand 5-0, but New Zealand are the lowest ranked team in this tournament, so I almost don't look into that game too much. The same way you don't look into Portugal beating Uzbekistan too much. Like, let's expect them to do that. I think Senegal's attack's really, really good. They scored against France, caused them lots of problems, and that is a very good French team. They put two past Norway, who are, I think, like a dark horse kind of team. They beat Iraq 5-0, which is the biggest scoreline for any African team in World Cup history. I think Senegal could really blitz Belgium and beat them like 3-1.
Fair enough. Isaac?
Belgium.
Belgium?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is one of those ones where like it's kind of that opposite. I take a lot of the upset. I think it's gonna be one correctly so, and I don't know. I think the quality will shine through, and I think that's scary to say so. And I'm like, you can hear like the lack of optimism in my voice in saying that. Like, I don't think I'm gonna say this is like one of my more confident picks. I think it's defaulting into cliches with some of the players on that team. Like, I just can't see De Bruyne going out in a round of 32 for what could possibly be his last World Cup. Like, there's too much in this squad for me to believe, hey, they're not managed by Roberto Martinez anymore, so I should expect them to go farther than they have in recent years. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just sort of my weary from this Senegal team I watched us play, where I feel like I saw us handle them fairly well heading into the tournament. And I think ever since then, I haven't been optimistic. And because of how Belgium thrashed us sort of with like heading into this tournament, I think I've been a little higher on Belgium, or at least I wouldn't say I'm higher on Belgium, but I'm still kind of lukewarm on them. But I don't think I've been drowned by like how bad their performances have been. I think my opinion on them has stayed about the same. I think I've changed on if they play the U.S. I do think we might have better odds of beating them than we did going into this tournament. I think that's a whole different conversation. But for the first round, I think I'm going Belgium.
Fair enough. So obviously, the road of democracy, we will be going with the U.S. and a potential Senegal round of 16 matchup at Seattle, which I'm very excited to see if it does happen. But it can go either way, like you said. Any of these, like it's football, like we don't know. I'm just very confident that I think Senegal can pull through. But round of 16, if we do go through, right, and we beat Bosnia, I'm just scared. Like I just don't want to face Belgium. I'm just terrified after the ass whooping that they gave us earlier in the year. what was it, like in March, like late March or early April, that they
Yeah.
fucking destroyed us. What was it, 5-2?
Yeah,
I'm
something
just
like that.
terrified. I'm terrified. Right? I know we've gotten better, but again, Belgium have the type of players where like offensively they can absolutely rip us apart. Like a Doku, like a Lukaku, like a De Bruyne, like a Trossard, who I think scored like what was it, 2 or 3 against New Zealand. But like Kieran said, it was against a weaker team,
Mhm.
so it's like I'm not gonna take that too much. But if they do perform and play better and they get the job done against Senegal and they place us, I'd be a little bit more terrified because yeah, that ass whooping that they gave us and the way they play too can definitely hurt when we have Tim Ream and Anthony Robinson in there. But I don't think it's going to be like an ass whooping. Like if we were to face against them or they were the favorites to win, it's a completely different matchup in my opinion with the way we've been playing and stuff like that. But against Senegal, like what we did against them, how weak they are defensively in the back line, and how I don't think they have the offensive players to kill us like a Belgium. I'm more confident against Senegal, so I'm hoping to God it's Senegal. Like they're clinical against Belgium, but against us, man, we lock that shit down easily. If we go through Bosnia, just have to knock on wood. I don't know. What are your boys thought on a potential round of 16? Who are you like want to see or don't want to see?
I would also be more afraid of Senegal than Belgium. I don't know. It's just like Senegal are just. I've been impressed by them. I think they look very, very good. But also, I'm just looking at it based off the tournament we've seen. I know we lost to Belgium in March, but that was March. Like this is now, and I think now we've gotten a lot better. Not infinitely better, but a lot better. And Belgium, I don't know. I'm not really into them very much. Like I think they are absolutely okay, Jeff, as you said earlier. Like I don't know, like you're relying on Lukaku, who's played less than 90 minutes all year for Napoli. You're relying on what, a 34-year-old De Bruyne. I just think there's so many factors with Belgium where it can easily go against them. They can easily just like I don't think they have a plan B. If it doesn't work with plan A, I think Belgium kind of panic. I don't think they look that good. I think we can handle them. I don't know. I think our athleticism, like you talked about, will be too much for them. I don't see them having a really great defense, to be honest with you.
Fair enough, Isaac.
No one. I'm not moved at all. Like, I mean, I think the still thing with Senegal. You know, he did put 2 past us. I mean, you have Sarr in that, but Mane's been their main producer, and he's 34 himself. Like, I'm not worried about. I think when it comes to like knockout stage time, like a Dest or a Freeman or someone like that, whoever's going to be marking him for that game, being able to keep up with him throughout that game. I think I'd be more worried about a Senegal with momentum than a Belgium. I don't think Belgium would pick up much momentum from this game. I think Senegal, you're getting another knockout win, especially how they came coming out of the group. You're playing a U.S. team who just kind of beat you heading into this. There's always going to be that at the top. Now they're hosting. I think maybe that worries me more. I don't know. This is also kind of the cop out. Like as a U.S. fan, I'm not going to start talking about who I want in a knockout stage. We got to win. Like I got to see us win first, and then I got to see us win again. And then, like, even then, you're playing what, a Spain or Portugal. Like, I gotta know. I'll check my place here as a U.S. fan. You know what I mean? If I was French, if I was German, if I was Spain, I'd be like, oh, I want this. Argentina. You know what? I'll bow out of this one. I'll take whoever because it means we're going to the round of 16.
Right. Yeah, no. You know what's funny? I was just gonna ask everyone. So, like, when we beat Spain and then we knock out France in the semifinals, what are we doing? I'm kidding. Obviously, I'm just joking because if we do get, and that's why I keep on saying, if we get through Bosnia, if we do get through in the round of 16 with whoever may be Belgium or Senegal, I'm just letting you hear right now, bro. I don't know what ass whooping Spain's about to give us, bro, or Portugal somehow if they get through. Like if they get through, then that means they've been playing better than what Spain can do. So, you know, but I don't even want to see the ass whooping that Spain might give us if we do get through to that stage. But no, I'm confident. I'm confident for this game against Bosnia. I'm very confident, obviously, in the round of 16, and if we did go through, because if we beat Bosnia, then that just shows how we're not frauds. You know, we just, we took care of business against one of the top, or one of the more like decent teams that come out of the group stages. But we'll have to wait and see. But I think that'll be also. Again, we have USA versus Senegal, Brazil versus Norway, Mexico versus England for a round of 16, Argentina versus Egypt, and then obviously Switzerland versus Colombia for our predictions to what will be the round of 16 as well. Golden Boot update, Isaac, as always, real quick. I know
it's still it's still Lionel. It should be, right?
Still Lionel, man. But I know we have a few players come in there as well with Dembele, I think, just popped in there with an amazing hat trick. Like just one of the more cleanest hat tricks I've seen.
I can actually
a very
let me share my
calm,
screen with you.
very calm hat trick.
It was the second fastest in World Cup history, actually, Jeff. So
What
you
was the
are right.
first
It was
one?
very. I don't know. I saw the graphic, but I don't know the guy's name. Do
I
you
can
know
pull
it,
that up
Jeff?
real
Or were
quick.
you? Oh, I thought you were quizzing me there for a second.
No, I actually don't know. I can add this to the screen real quick. Oh, let me try to remove that and then
And
add this.
there we go. I can obviously scroll down and show you some more at the 3 spot as well. But yeah, we got Dembele, Vinicius, Holland, and Mbappe all sitting on 4. Messi obviously sitting atop of the mountain at
6,
6,
which is
and then we got
insane.
a
I
few
told you,
leads.
bro. I told you about that Messi pick. I'm standing by that Messi pick, bro. Cape Verde, definitely 2 goals against Cape Verde.
Just wait
3
till
goals.
Vinny puts 4 in his opening round against Japan.
Oh, then oof. It's funny how we're flip flopping here. Like we have to go. I'm rooting against my boy, and then I'm going.
That's shocking, Jeff. It's crazy.
But 3 goals. We have Harry Kane, who can easily get in there if they get some good goals in there against against Congo, the Republic of Congo. Bobby as well. I'm gonna have to see I can see him jumping up. Jonathan David is actually no, I don't see Jonathan David going there. Never mind. Take him
Don't
out.
gas Cannon up that much.
Yeah, I think from the 3 goal section, I'm definitely seeing Kane getting in there. Ismail Sarr can get in there too if he can get some goals against us if we go through, and then Bosnia or Belgium too. So we'll see with that. But Bobby's the other one. Bobby's definitely the other one I'm seeing. Where I'm like, oh, he can definitely get in with like 8 goals, like 4. He can get like 2 goals here, and then the next round another 2 as well. So watch out for Brian Bobby, man. He's been fucking good this tournament. And Cunha too. We'll give some love to Cunha as well. There you go. I think Karen was looking at me like, Jeff, look at Cunha. He can get another 2 as well.
Yeah, my pick originally was Harry Kane, but I don't know. With the way Messi's been playing, I almost kind of want to change my pick.
Messi caught us up.
Because the thing is, Messi plays Cape Verde, which you'd expect him to score. And if everything advances, he's either playing Egypt or Australia. So it's like he has a fairly comfortable path to getting more goals.
And I think he's still only playing Colombia after that too. Like if he were to go through.
Yeah, right. And then
Colombia will be tough, but yeah.
So like even if they play England, they could stop Harry Kane, hypothetically. So it's like I might have to go with Messi now. I picked Kane, but I might have to go back to Messi.
I told you, jump on the jam, dude. It's the opponent. It's not even like if Vinny had that path, I would have been like, Isaac, I'm fully with you, bro. He's gonna go. He's gonna win it. But it's the path, bro. Look at who he's played. That hat trick against Algeria. I'll say it again. That shit hit the tone for everyone because they're like, fuck, bro. Like he has 3. Like you have to get a hat trick, and he's like the last player to play too. So it's like everyone has like the pressure to like follow up and stuff. So it's like fuck, man. And he's
that's
got
just what'll make it better
dude.
when Vinny does it.
Fuck, bro. God, man. I'm hoping I'm wrong, bro. Like I'm hoping Vinny scores a hat trick, but I just don't see it, bro. I really don't, man. He's got
Brazil in the finals? Question mark?
That'd be cool. A semifinals between Brazil and Argentina. I want that, bro. I want to see that. Or England versus Argentina. I love to see that because of like the historical rivalry as well. I love to see like obviously Argentina's gonna get to the semis, I think, but I'd love to see like either Argentina versus Brazil or Argentina versus England as well. But that'll be all for this.
Oh no, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I think it is, right?
No, I was gonna say based off what you're saying. I don't know if it's possible. I'd love the Netherlands and Argentina again. Because remember, like 2022.
Oh yeah.
Argentina played the Netherlands. That would be a sick matchup. Probably not gonna happen.
I wish the Netherlands were like on the on the Egypt, Switzerland, that side of the bracket because we would have gotten that rematch, and I me too, bro. Sick. I wanted that. I wanted that rematch, bro, because I think Netherlands would have come in with more juice, more hunger, more garra, as we like to say here in South America, with the more fight and passion, like with the chip on their shoulder. But we're not gonna get it, bro. But we could potentially either get Argentina versus Brazil or Argentina versus England, so that could be possible. Or Argentina versus Norway, Messi versus Holland. That'll be cool as well. Why not? But that'll be all I got for you boys. Thank you again for this long episode. I know it's long, but we have round of 32. Then once we get into the later rounds, it'll probably be less complex, until we get to those like big debates with like quarterfinals and all these type of things. But appreciate your time. As always, go USA. And when I see Ecuador tomorrow win, bro, I'm going to be the biggest fucking Ecuadorian fan in the fucking world, bro. I'm just letting you know, man. I'm a hate watch, but that hasn't been going well for me as of late with the other teams that I've been hate watching, mainly fucking Turkey, bro. Fuck Turkey, bro. But go USA as always. And I'll see you in the next. Oh, tune in for a watch along potentially too with me and Isaac for the USA game between Bosnia. We might be doing that as well. So maybe chip in for that episode too for all of our listeners and viewers out there as always. So can't wait for that first watch along on the Out Alone podcast. But we'll see you in the next one.